Chapel is a bypass next week. What the fuck are they doing to it? They just fucking resurfaced this road and it's fucking brilliant, so they're gonna tear it up again. Fan-fucking-tastic. Oh dear, it's actually dark. Here's something I haven't seen in a couple of months. Way! This is a fairly unusual commute in that it's dark but also warm. It's like 20 degrees nearly. Usually if it's dark it's later in the winter, and it means it's usually cold and rainy, but this is a rare sort of a thing. Riding in the dark for me is for getting home. It's not for messing, it's not for enjoying, even though this is reasonably pleasant. The keys are clear because it's like nearly 9:30. One thing that surprised me when I first started riding a bike and was riding in the dark was just how shit most motorbike headlights are. Just for seeing in front of you on the road, you don't sort of realise that, you know, car headlights that you actually see bumps in the road and obstacles and stuff like that in a reasonable amount of time, whereas on a motorbike you're kind of at the mercy of whatever's on the road. You can see maybe 20-30 feet in front of you. And of course part of that, as I discovered later, was my first big bike, or I guess bigger than a tiny 250cc, was a Honda Deauville, and its headlight is notoriously shit. And because of where I live, it's involves driving along some country roads where there's no headlights or no street lights and it's not all lit up like this. It was actually pretty fucking terrifying on the Deauville, sort of going along these roads and sort of going, you know, if there's a dead dog on the road, for example, and I hit it, I'm probably fucked. Or, you know, all the random shit that fucking people living on the roads around near me, big sods of turf or shit that falls out of trailers or all sorts of fucking nonsense. So one thing I was very happy with when I got the GS was the spotlights, which are sort of you know, down by the sides near the front of my shins, and twin spotlights. And I like these for a number of reasons. One, they are fucking bright. It's in terms of being able to see the road in front of you. I mean, you don't get a great look at it now because there's street lights, but on country roads, maybe we'll see later on just how much light you get out of them. It's also down to visibility, and actually if it weren't for the centre light, if you looked in your rear view and saw my two spotlights, you could be mistaken for think there was a truck or something behind you, just because there's two roundy lights a little bit of a distance apart. So there is that. I do notice that, especially in any sort of low light conditions, even when it's dull and raining and shit, people do take notice of you, so they're pretty nice. They also help with filtering, because people see two big lights behind and they're like, oh, and they're more likely to get out of your way, either because, you know, they'll see you and their sound, or they think copper or they think something like that. So having good headlights is good crack. So when I got the RS, when I changed the GS for the RS, I paid a pretty fucking penny to get the spotlights on it, but especially coming into the winter, as I'm not going to say it's coming into the winter, it's fucking August, lads. It ended up being something that I really wanted coming into the winter time. Okay, now we're into country roads, and it's still pretty terrifying. Let me put on my full beams here. Slightly less terrifying, there we are. But the lights on its own on the RS are pretty decent. I can see up to that car. I can see a good 50-60 yards in front of me. In terms of if there was a person-sized thing on the road, I would probably see it. And you know, it's lighting up the cat's eyes lovely, as you would expect from a good headlight, which I wasn't getting on previous bikes. Let's go to a straight bit so I can stick on the old spotlights. You see the difference. Fuck's sake, you're ruining my shots, lads, come on. No oncoming cars, brilliant. Okay, here's the breakdown. Normal. High beams, pretty nice. Spots, even better. I can see the surrounds of the bike in glowing Technicolor, and then it shines out pretty nicely. Hopefully the video does it justice, but yeah, I can fucking see things in front of me for a very long way indeed. So I'm very happy with those. I don't know what these people are like, whether they're happy with it. I do get the odd flash off people. I don't know whether the spots are aligned to shine in a particular way, but not to the extent that I'd sort of go, hey, they're misaligned or they're being obnoxious. I think some people just don't like LED lights. You know, the way there's LED lights that are super noticeable. You know, they just sort of say, oh, I noticed those, and they're dazzling me, when in fact they're not really dazzling you. LED lights tend to not dazzle you as much. So, to be honest, in most cases, if somebody is annoyed by my spotlights, but not actually dazzled by them, then fucking mission accomplished. You know, if somebody's like, that fucking biker with who I can see and I'm looking at, and his fucking spotlights, I'm like, brilliant, you're looking at me. That's most of the battle. Other short updates while we're on the boring part of the commute is, as well as a couple of forums that I check, such as the motorcycling forum on boards, I've also started checking out, there's a new Irish motorbicycling subreddit on Reddit. If you use Reddit at all, I've been on Reddit, you know, under another name for a good long while, so it's /r/Moto Ireland, and there's been good crack on there so far. I mean, there's a small number of people, but it seems to be growing fairly steadily, and they're doing some good community things on there. They have good links down the side. They're doing a daily commute thread, which I think is sort of conducive to the way Reddit does things. If you're not familiar with Reddit, it's not like threads that are supposed to stick around for a long time. It's just like threads that appear and then sort of disappear down the bottom. And so having a daily commute thread has been good crack. I think it would have helped me when I was starting out, if I had people sort of who were expecting you to be commuting, and there's a small degree of guilt where you're sort of going, oh, took the car today. I know you're supposed to stick to your comfort levels, but like, it doesn't help to have a bit of an incentive to, you know, see what you saw in your commute and tell a few people about it. And obviously there's new bikers on there that are looking for advice, as with anywhere, so give it a look.